Well, we are in the dining room today, or at least for this part of the clip, going to start our read-along of Go the Distance. That's not even the key or anything that the song is actually sung in. But I'm not a musical person, so forgive me. But yes, we're going to start reading Go the Distance by Jen Calonita. Yes, I think I pronounced that right. Which is kind of my reward for finishing the first 10 in the Twisted Tale series earlier this year. I did do a way too super long review and ranking of those 10. And looking back, I should have just reviewed each one separately and then did a ranking video. But we live and we learn, and we don't do that again. So I'm going to push you back a little bit. You're getting a little close. Okay, now you can see I have a forehead and not just endless hair or whatever. So we're going to start reading this. We're going to try to read this. The puppies are outside and trying to keep an eye on them through the window. Yesterday, Tundra met a skunk. Thankfully, it didn't end in the worst case scenario. She actually, I think, just got sprayed on her paw, which meant we all slept on the couch to make sure she didn't go up on the bed. Long story short, I didn't really get great sleep, so I'm pretending to be a raccoon today. So let's get started and see how this goes. I've heard that it's good. Everybody's opinion is different. If it is good, then this is probably going to be a really boring read-along. Maybe I'll have something interesting to say. So I'm going to crack it open, and we're going to start. Probably should read the blurbity blurb in here and talk about the cover, because that's usually how I start. So let's do the blurb. What if Meg had to become a Greek god? After Hercules proves he's a true hero and regains his godhood, all seems right in the world. That is, until Zeus tells Megara. Until Zeus tells Meg that she can't be with Hercules because she's, well, mortal. Luckily, Hera has a solution, offering Meg a chance to prove herself worthy of a spot on Mount Olympus as a god. All Meg has to do is complete a mysterious quest. The quest? Oh, just to rescue her ex-boyfriend's wife from the underworld. The ex-boyfriend she saved by selling her soul to Hades. The ex-boyfriend who immediately moved on to someone else while Meg was stuck in the underworld. Can Meg put her past behind her and use her quick wit to defeat monsters and gods alike, including the nefarious Hades? Will she finally figure out where she belongs and what she has to offer? Or will her fear of commitment have her running away from an eternity of godhood with Herc? Not gonna lie, automatically reading this, my brain was starting to wish things were different. So I know in the Disney version, both Hera and Zeus love Hercules, but obviously in the traditional mythology, obviously Hera was not so happy with Hercules. So I almost wanted Hera to be like, hey, you can't be here because you're mortal. And then Zeus being like, well, I got a solution, because that's usually how it goes. But we're going off Disney here, so it is what it is. As for this quest, I'm just like, okay, why is that the quest that the god would pick? Unless you want to be like, hey, if you can kind of forgive and forget and save this person who is loved by the person that hurt you, then you're worthy of being a goddess. Okay, let's go with that. It'll be interesting. The fact that in all of the Twisted Tales, we have the female protagonist as the main has made some things interesting. And in this case, like, I really would like another story about Hercules. Or young Hercules at least, or something. Just because, like, it was the same thing that happened with Aladdin. It was Aladdin and Jasmine were your main protagonist POVs, but I felt like Jasmine was doing so much more, and it was more her story, and Aladdin fell into the background a lot. But knowing that it was an Aladdin book, I wanted to read about Aladdin. So it's just my initial bias. Not trying to judge it too much already, but those were my thoughts reading that. As for the cover, I love this blue. I love it so much. We also have the Villainous game with the second expansion had Hades, and his blue little token is fantastic. And the cards, the blue that they use in the cards, I think it's like a Yale blue or something. We looked it up. It's so nice. I want that blue in my... we were going to do the bathroom, but I think we're doing a different color now. But anyway, I love that. I love the blue. We're going to do that. So, loving the blue. I think this picture of Hades as a villain silhouette is gorgeous. Obviously, you know, he's the villain based on the kind of blurb and whatnot. Villain being a kind of loose term in this case. We have Meg here on the vase instead of Hercules, which is, you know, common throughout the movie with when the muses do their thing and when Herc gets famous, his face is all over on the vase. And then we've got some more underworld here with the skeletons. That's pretty cool. Definitely giving you an idea of where we're going. And then Olympus up here looks very nice with the clouds and the mountain and a little horsey. I assume... I don't know if it's supposed to be flying or what, or if its wings are coming out of its butt, or if it's just a cliff. I don't quite understand the shape going on there. But that's the cover. That's the cover. So let's dive into chapter 1. Or is there a prologue? Maybe I should check first. There is a prologue. So we're going to dive into the prologue. All right, so we're starting off some time ago in the prologue with Meg as a 5-year-old child. Her parents are arguing, which is now a common thing, as common as the rising sun. And we have a crybaby Tundra. What? Puppies are inside, by the way. So her parents are arguing. Obviously, she's not raised in a happy home. All right, so we're on to page 2. I guess I have comments and things. So her mother takes Meg to the next room and puts toys in front of her to keep her busy. And I guess to partially world build, the author chose to pick what I'm going to assume is the Greek words for these toys. Her mother usually placed the Stromvos in front of Megara to keep her busy. The top her father had once whittled her was the quietest of all of Meg's toys, blah, 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 blah. And then it mentions 2 other toys. These words are italicized, so we know it's a different language. There's the Platagi, which is the rattle, and the Spheria, I'm guessing a ball. In most cases, I can appreciate the world building, but 2 things on this. As far as just reading it, I was like, these phrases I don't recall being used. Tundra, not right now. We have to squeak when Mom's on the camera. Try to ignore it. I hope you can hear me well enough. I don't remember them using... I think there might have been a couple phrases dropped here and there, which were very subtle, but... I guess reading it because of just the it just felt out of place. It felt more jarring than anything, and it's taken me out of the story to comment and tell you I don't think we needed to know the Greek word for these toys. In most cases, I could appreciate it if I think I was being introduced into a totally new world, but I already kind of know the world of Hercules. So mixed feelings, but it definitely took me out of the book. So there's that. And Spheria are marbles. That comes up in the next sentence. So she'll say the word and its relation in one sentence, and the next sentence just say it in English anyway to explain to us what it is. So it's, again, kind of reinforcing I don't think we needed that word to be used. All right, so the argument has now turned into the father walking out, basically abandoning Meg and his mother, and they've obviously been having these issues of him not bringing home money to support them, he never, wanted a daughter, wanted to be a father or nothing, and she's, slaving to scrape up enough money for milk, and they have no food. So it's written, this prologue is kind of written in a omnipotent POV, and even though it made the comment that Meg she didn't understand the words, she was too young, at least she knows that her father's not going to come back home with any money. Like, she's well aware of that. So she is aware to a point, and they're hungry and they are leaving. They're immediately going to move because they can't pay for their rent. All right, so that interesting thing, I'm not sure if it's actually going to become anything, but the mom's explaining to Meg that their father left them, didn't just go to work, and saying, your father causes nothing but pain, and then you have it italicized here. Where is it there? Where it says pain, then Meg's thoughts. And I'm thinking Pain and Panic, the two little minions of Hades. So I was wondering if panic is going to be another, or the next highlighted word, and then somehow connecting Pain and Panic directly to Meg. But on the next page, the word we get is gone. So we'll see if panic shows up. Maybe it's a thing, maybe I'm just overreading into it. They escape the house as the lady is coming to collect their rent. And the last sentence in the prologue is, if there was one thing Megara had learned in her short life already, it was this: love wasn't worth the trouble. And I feel like that's a stretch on everything that's gone on, since I'm not sure that it was necessarily love keeping them together. Also, I don't think Meg would have had that impression that early, so I'm not convinced by this line. Just saying, on to chapter 1 in thin air, and then we're back to present day. So it looks like Meg and Hercules are a thing currently. Yeah, she's calling him Wonder Boy, so that's always fun. So like I said, they're together, but this is literally starting, I guess, end of the Hercules movie, where Hercules has just pulled Meg out of the underworld and is taking her up to Mount Olympus. Before anything else happens, before even a god confronts her, she's already like, am I supposed to be here? Like, I was helping out Hades. Mortals weren't allowed to date gods, were they? And so rather than, I think initially in the blurb, it sounded more like they at least had some happy time together after the events of the movie. And then it was kind of like, hey, by the way, sorry, you can't be here. And now it's feeling more like Meg is shooting down her chances before somebody else does. So, self-depreciation? I don't know. But they're about to meet with Zeus and Hera. So let's see if they're already like, hey, sorry, you can't stay. We'll see. I believe I found the first typo. Let me read it, because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure these words have been flipped. So Meg's talking about how Hercules, or being with Hercules, has kind of opened her eyes up to the nicer things in life again. He had a contagious optimism that filled with her newfound energy. Did you catch it? Filled with her newfound energy. I think it should be that filled her with newfound energy. So, whoopsie doopsie, I'm going to call that a typo because that doesn't make sense based on what she's talking about. And we're on page 12. Jen! No. I'm going to have hope. Granted, the story is not anywhere near, ruined yet. I'm a little surprised that I'm already picking things out, and I'm trying not to be biased or overly critical, since I have not liked Jen's other two Mirror Mirror and The Frozen Conceal Don't Feel were my weakest two in my ranking. So I'm trying not to be biased and put that into consideration, but I'm finding things that are pulling me out of the story, and I just really wanted something cool. Now I have a maybe slightly educational comment. Nothing wrong with the sentence here, but I'll read it, and I think this is something you'll pick up when you're listening. There was a sudden hush over the crowd, and Meg followed the stares of the others to two figures who had appeared at the top of the stairs. It's two different stares. It's stares, like people staring at her, and then the stairs you climb. But because they're actually just a couple right here. We're going to look at that area. They're very close to each other. They're in the same sentence. So even reading it in my head, I was like, didn't I just read the word stairs? And granted, different stairs, but it's the same pronunciation, so it can throw people off. One of the big things I'm going through with my own edits right now is sort of that word echo, where either the word is used multiple times in close proximity or in the same sentence. Granted, like I said, not the same word, but the same sound. Sounds like the same word. Confusing. Taken out of the story. Don't do that. I don't think you should do that. Recommendation. I'm not, saying what is great and what is not, but if that felt weird to you, try not to do that. Okay, two small things. I know this is what a read along is though, right? Scrutinizing everything along the way. So the first one is they get up to the stairs where Hera and Zeus are, and Hercules runs ahead to greet his parents. And Meg immediately sinks into herself, kind of doubting everything she did and arguing with herself that she doesn't belong and whatnot. Which, given her background, I can understand that sort of self-doubt. I think we all argue with ourselves over certain things. It's not what I want her to be feeling right now, especially because, again, I feel like the opposition should have come from Zeus and Hera before she brought it on herself. And she should just be happy she's with Hercules, she's alive. But she's definitely very much sinking into herself and kind of struggling there. And then the other small thing, like the possessive form of Hercules, it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right to say it. What is this? I don't know. I'm sorry if those words have never been in focus. I can't see what's on the camera here. But I feel like it would just be Hercules apostrophe, not Hercules ziz. I don't know. I'm not in charge. I'm not the editor. But again, I stopped. So, can we reach chapter 2 without another 14? Okay, there's 5.5 pages till chapter 2. I'm a little confused. I didn't make it to the end of the chapter. So as the gates to Olympus open and Hercules is about ready to go in, and Meg's kind of just like, don't go, in her head, not saying it out loud or anything. She notices Aphrodite being consoled by a green god wearing a hat of leaves, who Meg didn't recognize. So Aphrodite is wiping her tears away, and the green god makes a comment about Zeus being, he's so big picture, said the green god, and Aphrodite looked at her strangely. It took me several reads to, I guess, I'm still kind of wondering, is Aphrodite looking at Megara? Or the god, which, if it's Demeter, because they're gossiping now, why not goddess? Wouldn't that be the correct thing, since it's a female god? Would be goddess? Now I'm pretty sure she and Demeter are just chit-chatting away and Meg's overhearing them. But goddess. Don't we use that word? Does anybody off the top of their head know what Zaftig means? And it's up here on the screen. Based on context, is it a color? Is it a color? Let us, I can't Google it. Oh wait, maybe I can. I have my tablet here with me. Because it was Meg is straining to hear the Zaftig god with the pink lips. So I'm assuming it's green, but like, what is this word? Zaftig. If it just says it means green, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Oh, that is not what it means. Zaftig, it's an adjective, and it means having a full, rounded figure. Plump, typically used of a woman. A Zaftig brunette is the example. It's like, how was I gonna get that context out of that word? Up until now, we've just said she's green, and she's a god, not a goddess. I don't like it when you use words I don't know. Granted, I'm not like the most educated and proficient. I can't speak. I also don't speak as well as I think I write. So take my comment with a grain of salt. But what is that word? It means plump. And I was never going to get that out of the context if I didn't know that word. There's little more things to point out, as you know, we've been doing for the past 20 or so minutes. So Demeter tells Aphrodite the rumor that Zeus actually knew Hercules was on Earth, but when he found out he was mortal, he left him there and waited time out. And she makes the comment, if it were my daughter, I would have left her sleeping in a cradle to be stolen, and I'd certainly never let her roam the earth alone. If I knew where she was, I'd stop at nothing to get her back. Nothing. If you have the knowledge of Greek mythology, that Persephone, Demeter's daughter, was more or less kidnapped and then gets married to Hades, then my initial reaction was, oh, this hasn't happened yet. But it's alluding to something that will happen, and then in the next comment, apparently it has happened. Because Aphrodite's like, we'll find Persephone, don't you worry. I'm sure she's just wandering off. So we don't know that she was kidnapped by Hades, but she's missing. So I'm sure that is going to come back where Demeter learns that Persephone is actually kidnapped by Hades, and Demeter learns such, and it probably uses Meg. To get her or make contact with her or something. Something of that is going to connect with Meg for sure. But she won't rest until she finds her. So we're already opening up that little plot string there with Aphrodite and Demeter, and Meg, I'm pretty sure, is going to be part of that. I couldn't even get through the next paragraph. Dang it. This might just be me. Phil rushed past the gods, separating Meg from them with not even a greeting. I feel like just saying without even a greeting is better. With not even a greeting. Sounds like she might have tried to write a different way and then changed it and not totally taken the word out. I'm not sure. But I want it to say without and with not. Well, this was a whirlwind moment here. So Meg's still kind of having her little pity party of already accepting that she and Hercules can't be together, and she's going to go back to Earth alone, and there's nothing there for her. And, you know, she turns around to leave, and she makes it a few steps before she felt someone grab her hand. And then she turned around in surprise. Hercules was somehow behind her. Just those few sentences kind of had a lot of she's starting out, so it was a little bit strange. But so Hercules is with her. I think I remember this at the end of the movie where Hercules does choose to stay on Earth with Meg. Is that a thing, or am I just like imagining it very well? So you have that very like romantic moment where he's like, I finally know where I belong. He whispered back, and it's with you. And then he kisses her, and she throws her arms around him, and like now she's all like super happy, and all the gods are cheering. Total 180 of her emotions, which is fair. That happens. Our emotions do like go crazy like that. I will admit it. I don't know. I think it just felt sudden. Like, even though I know they're like a couple and everything, that he just kissed her and she threw her arms around his neck without even like a hesitation for her brain to process what was happening. Like, she was just immediately like all in on it, despite all of her woe is me's. And then of course somebody says no. And I think we all know who that is. Yep. One look at Zeus's stern face and Meg knew the god's allfather was putting an end to their relationship before it could ever really get started. Yeah. Well, in all fairness, Meg, you were really sending those vibes out into the universe, since you preemptively ended it and were ready to leave, or at least trying to accept it, that Hercules couldn't be with you. So kind of wish she that more of that Meg flair came out and not so much the, what's the opposite of confident? I love Meg's kind of Jersey flair, as it were, with her attitude and everything. So seeing the more sensitive side of her is definitely very different. I hope that we do get some of her attitude back, because right now it's not a very engaging character to read. But I can see how they're setting up a few plot lines with this first chapter. I do still wish that we started out where this chapter had ended, and then they had at least a few moments to like, we're gonna be happy together on Earth or whatever, and then Zeus says no, and she has that whole meltdown of, we can't be together, like, why didn't I think of that, yada yada yada, instead of her thinking about it first and then being told no, and then it's like, well, okay. So that was the prologue in the first chapter of Go the Distance. That it's going to be all, because I want to keep these relatively short just so they're easier to watch and edit. But also, husband just got home, so we're going to take the puppies for a walk. And I will see you guys in the next part of Go the Distance read along. Thanks for watching. Comment below if you've read the book, and if I'm still doing self-published book reviews, so if you have a recommendation, let me know. You can message me. All of my links are in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.